Hello, everyone. This is me again, coming from the LR. And today I'm going to talk about Norman Lear. Norman Lear, for those of y'all who don't know who he is, and most of you all should, but Norman Lear is a person who produced shows like Facts of Life, Maud, Sanford and Son, The Jeffersons, and All in the Family. And most of the younger people I'm sure probably familiar with Sanford and Son, Jefferson's, and All in the Family. Uh, however, I want to say first of all, genius, pure genius, because what Norman Lear did during that time changed how we actually view television. Um, you keep in mind it was at a very risky time, and during a pretty fragile uh, part of society in America because it wasn't far removed from civil rights movement in terms of like the March on Washington, boycotts, Rosa Parks, the number of things that were going on, and basically for Norman Lear to actually come out with a sitcom. And I use that loosely. I mean, they were sitcoms. They were humorous programs and everything, but they carry strong messages with it because Archie and George typically said a lot of things, a lot of racial comments, and most of the time they ended up with their foot in their mouths, and they usually were the ones at the end of the show with egg on their face. And so what Norman attempted to do was to point out the ignorance of racial inequality, racial comments, and things throughout the show. And I think there were two areas where maybe that message didn't come across. And the first area I want to say, uh, I was in the seventh grade, and so I'm about 12 or 13. And there's a kid in class. He's a white kid because, again, like I say, this is like not too long after civil rights, and so segregation was one of the things they wanted to address. So they started busing us to the white schools. So the majority of my education has always been spent in a integrated environment. So anyway, there's this kid, and he has this T-shirt on that has Archie Bunker for president. Now, me being 12 or 13, I see it's just humorous, something that's like a novelty type thing. I mean, it's a joke, it's a gag, so it's funny to me because surely no one would want the buffoon that I see each and every week in the high office of president. So I take it as a joke, and that's it. Well, it wasn't until I got older that I started realizing because that never left me. And, and I said, well, okay, maybe that wasn't a joke. Maybe there are people who really feel that way because what Archie and George said, were the sentiments of segments of society in America. And the fact now there's someone on television who's conveying the same things that they believe, you know, tick to it. Because if you think about the iconic theme songs, those were the days, and moving on up. Those are the things that kind of resonated. Uh, because the segment of America, who felt like, you know, the days of segregation and everything, those were the good old days. And then, segment of Black America, who just saw black couple going to upstate New York, moving to a high rise, moving on up. That's all they saw. The fact we made it and never had that before on television. So, like I say, it changed how we viewed television. But I don't necessarily know that all that segments of us actually got the message that it was trying to convey because of that. The other thing that I think was an issue, but like I said, before I go into that, I just want to mention the fact that the kid who had the T-shirt on, basically, I mean, kid like I am. So parent more than likely had to buy the T-shirt. So the parent saw the T-shirt, thought of something nice, bought for their child because what they're now doing is reinforcing that belief into their child. Um, but anyway, the second thing is that something that I felt like was very unavoidable because normally them had come out with these really good and powerful shows. But in order for a show to be powerful, you have to have like characters, a cast, that can carry that. And let me say, both of them were very successful shows. Jefferson was a spinoff from All in the Family and went on to be successful as All in the Family. Uh, but the main characters, Archie and George, carried the show. And you can go as far as say they were the show. So their characters being so powerful, a lot of people identify with the characters and not so much as the message and what happened with the characters in the end. But the characters were very enjoyable characters. I mean, I like that. I liked Archie. And I like George, and I think at some point you started seeing some softening of the characters and their beliefs as the show went on, and they continued to have all these episodes where they ended up again like with egg on the face, and so I think Norman migrated towards that. However, I believe for those two reasons, the message didn't necessarily like get across because basically what the shows were, they were paradigm of certain segments of society, and all they saw was reinforcement of what they thought and what they believed, and you know, glossed over everything else that was trying to be conveyed. So, and this is where I'm gonna get the plug in. When I started writing my manuscript, initially I didn't think about Norman Lear, his work, and things that he had done. Uh, but at a certain point, I did. I started thinking about the shows, and I started thinking about how I felt in terms of the reactions that what I believe uh, some people took from the shows. Uh, and I started wondering, okay, well, would that be possible in what I'm writing? And then I said, no, no, because what I'm doing is actually a paradox. It's not something that we believe in. It's hard to fathom, which is the reason for the title, inscrutable. Can't even say my own title, inscrutable. And so it's not a reinforcement of something that we already believe. It is something totally new, brand, and it's something that will cause you, and hope to cause you to look at things from a different perspective because it's not a paradigm, it's a paradox. And I enjoyed the work that Norman did. Um, again, like I say, genius. And I know that you guys have seen like the show, the remake that they did. Well, not necessarily a remake, but I guess somewhat of a tribute to his work. And man, this was something new too, and I congratulate ABC on taking this on, but where they did, some of the like remakes of the Jeffersons and All in the Family, and they did it live. Now, granted, All in the Family and Jeffersons were done before studio audiences, but this was a little bit different, and my understanding that they're coming out, with a new segment of the show. Look forward to seeing it. But that is basically what I wanted to talk about. And, I know I do a lot of joking and things from here to time, but there's really no jokes today. Uh, but I will say, for the people, who back then, who really took like the T-shirt of Archie Bunker for president, and some people who actually had believed it would be nice, to have someone like Archie Bunker for president. Well, let me just say, I think you got your wish. Again, appreciate you listening. Uh, please go to the website, uh, pass on this video, share it, share the website, and until I'll talk to you guys again. Greenwood.